What's up, Sterile Processing University? It's Hank Balch here, back again, episode 3 with Matthew Richardson. Matthew, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
So we left off episode 2 with, what are some of the tidbits, the insights for anyone that's kind of hooked? But I also kind of put a little pin in there and said, hey, if you're not hooked yet, make sure to join us for episode 3 because cash flow is a very important topic. I don't know a lot about this topic in general, but I know if you don't have the cash flow, then this thing ain't going to work very long. So let's kind of start there. What is cash flow? Let's define the terms. And then let's talk a little bit about the various implications that has for being successful.
Absolutely. So sometimes I think it's most helpful to define something by what it is not first. And cash flow is not your monthly mortgage deducted from your rental income. That is not cash flow. Cash flow is the profit, the net profit from your monthly expenses. And so you have a mortgage and then you build into that your projected monthly expenses, which we can go into more detail later. But generally, it's going to be vacancy, maintenance, capital expenditures, mortgage, liability insurance. After those, and your property taxes, after those is your cash flow. More simply in business, we call it net operating.
That last comment is a very important takeaway here is we're talking about real estate investing generally, but this is really a business kind of mindset and model. So for folks that have never had their own business and are not familiar with, operating income and the relation that it is, to cash flow and all the liabilities kind of that you mentioned, the cost, the overhead there, that can be a very, simple concept, but if you've just never been taught that in school, which most of us were not, it's very new. And so that call out there, like you said, we're going to get into a lot more specifics around how to watch those, how to measure those, like you alluded to. But before we do, let's take one step back here and talk about the different types of real estate investments that are out there. We've kind of been alluding mostly to the residential space, but I know that's not the only space, and even residential is probably a broader category. So kind of line out some of these options out there for us.
Yeah, so broadly speaking, you have single family real estate investing. It's a family home, just like you have multifamily or commercial real estate investing, and that can span from apartments to doctors' offices. You have industrial investing. You have land investing and its subsequent partner of development. And then more, I guess the way to get into it, if you just want to say that you're engaged in real estate investing, would be your investment trusts, your REITs, and things like that.
Now, REIT, what is that? Or is that even the right acronym?
Yeah, yeah. It's real estate investment trust, I believe it
Okay.
is.
Okay.
I don't buy them, but it functions like a bond or a stock market, basically a conglomerate of people known as syndications, oftentimes, or syndicators. They will purchase properties with other people's money, and then they will execute on a X return on the money, and then they'll give you a percentage back.
Okay. If you were to take all those categories that you mentioned and kind of say, like, what's the easiest one to start with, which one would those be?
This will vary when you talk, depending on the investor you talk to, but I think single family has the least risk and it's the easiest to execute.
And it's probably the one that folks, if you own your own home, you're the most familiar with, right? You've already gotten a mortgage
Exactly.
before, you understand the process. It's not so
Yes.
foreign as like, commercial industrial.
Yes. Yes. And they're the cheapest to get into. So all around they're a good place to start in my view.
So, from the outsider looking in, right? I don't know anything about this topic beyond what you've been sharing so far. So I'm learning a lot very quickly. Thank you. But
Yep.
um, in the past, I have heard the phrase location, location, location when it comes to real estate. So talk
Mhm.
to us about the importance and the role of location. Is it as big a deal as, the mainstream kind of makes it seem when you're talking about investing?
Yes, it is. It's absolutely critical. Um, don't let it scare you. And so location does matter significantly because you have different property taxes, you have different home values, you have different rental values, and you have different material costs and different labor costs, and these things are going to affect the profit of your business. So location definitely matters. Often there's a few rule of thumbs that we'll be getting into that of how you can cover location and profit and know that you're good. But generally, if you're buying within 3 to 5 miles of new developments, particularly new developments like a Starbucks or a Jimmy John's or one of those is nearby, then it's a pretty affluent and growing place, right? These I don't invest millions of dollars into the research. I let someone else do it, and I tap into their knowledge. Starbucks is analyzing; it's a good area, so you can learn rules of thumbs to cheat the location.
I mean, if I was doing it, I'd like to find the Chick-fil-A and do like 3 to 5 miles from the Chick-fil-A, but that's
Yep.
just me.
I think
Okay.
I think all of our properties are actually within
Okay.
3 to 5 miles of a Chick
It
Fil
just so happens, yeah, right.
A. Yeah.
So, outside location, obviously, one of the most important ones is just the valuation of the property itself. And this is getting back into episode two. We talked about, well, I guess episode one, the need to be able to analyze and that skill set and and that growth in yourself to learn how to analyze better and better. But yeah, what is property valuation? How do folks come to know what a property is worth? And that's kind of on both sides of the equation because we got the sellers that's valuating it, and you got the buyer that's evaluating it. So how do those two things operate together?
Yeah, absolutely. And when we say property valuation, we always have to separate that from deal analysis. And so property valuation separately is you would take the comparable sales of comparable properties within a 2 mile radius. So keeping things extremely simple here, um, you would look at a 3 bedroom, 1 bath house. You'd try to find 3 bedroom, 1 bath house in the area, compile all the sell prices, not market prices. People are hopeful when they list them on the market, but what they actually have sold for, and then look at similar finishes. So that's where you get into a bit of an art, like granite countertops, just overall, this one looks nice, this one looks nice, this one looks nice, and then you take the median range of that data, or more specifically, you take the square foot price per sale of those properties. So let's say the 3 1s, the average sell price is $100 per square foot. Now you just look at the 3 1 you're looking at, and you times the square footage by $100. That's about what it's worth.
And everyone on both sides of the equation can do that analysis or that valuation and kind of see, hey, we're ending up at the same number, at least close.
That's right. That's right. And oftentimes agents have done it for us. An agent will show up with comparable sales for you. I always do my own, but that is a very helpful resource to have.
Well, that's an interesting concept that actually aligns with the way that we do salary, like market analysis in terms of sterile processing salary. We look around and say, what's everybody else paying sterile processing? Now, we got some issues with that for various reasons. So maybe if they learned a thing or two about how properties valuated, maybe we do better at our salary analysis and sterile processing. But that's we'll save that for another show. So, um, the next episode coming up, we're going to talk about how does one make money in real estate investing. I know we talked about cash flow a little bit at the beginning of this episode, but there's a
Hmm.
lot more to dive into, like the actual money making part of it. So stay tuned if you've hung here with us for 3 episodes. We got episode 4 is going to be a blockbuster, let me just say. So, Matthew, thank you again for your time and for your insight. And for everyone tuning in, thanks for hanging with us. And until we talk to you again, keep fighting dirty.